It's interesting. It sounded from the reporting that's come out of that phone call where Maduro was essentially laying out his conditions for giving up power and leaving Venezuela. Sounds like when he was talking about the 200 million or so, that it wasn't so much you give me 200 million, it was that let me keep at least 200 million of my money, of my personal wealth.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. So the what you're watching on that side goes back to about 2018 with the Venezuelan elections, right? So let's go back in time. 2018, Trump's first term in office. Venezuela has its presidential elections. The opposition leader wins. That was Juan Guaido. Now, the platform of the opposition leader was, as I mentioned, they have a big problem of Cuban infiltration, working together with the Chinese Communist Party. His presidential platform was to push out Cuban influence, to get rid of the influence the Cuban regime was exerting over to control Venezuela, right? Which was established under Chavez. Juan Guaido won the election, and then Maduro overturned it. Trump noted this. He said Maduro has stolen the election. America recognizes Juan Guaido as the official winner of the 2018 elections. That was, by the way, a position maintained even under the Biden administration. The Biden administration recognizes Juan Guaido as the government in exile, and he's currently in Florida, right?
Mm.
What happened was this, though. Trump's first term in office, Trump was talking about intervening militarily in Venezuela. We were gonna send troops there because what Maduro was doing was there were large scale protests throughout the country. People were mad at him. They were rioting on the streets. He then started using paramilitary groups tied in with FARC, which is a narco terrorist organization, and of course, he's with the Cartel of the Suns. They started using narcos, gangs, to shoot people point blank, to raid people's apartment buildings, to arrest people, and just crushing brutally the uprising and protest because they knew that Maduro stole the election. And again, it's controversial here, but even Biden recognized this. Even that was even a policy of the Biden administration. Then what happened was Trump talking about intervention. As you have happening now, Maduro called for foreign help. He asked for help from China. He asked for help from Iran. He asked for help from Russia, which he's now done, and they've already denied him. But at the time, they did come to his rescue. China went to the diplomatic stage, started calling for other countries to reject American diplomacy and how dare America make threats. And then Russia deployed two strategic bombers, nuclear capable, to Venezuela, and then issued a statement to the United States that if we intervene, the results will be catastrophic and there will be bloodshed. They made an indirect nuclear threat to the United States, and Trump actually backed down.
Well,
Trump actually backed down the first time.
nobody's better at rattling the nuclear saber than Dmitry Medvedev, former
Yeah.
president there in Russia. That guy, he has never lost an opportunity to talk about how anything we do could result in catastrophic nuclear results. So look,
Like to use that word, yeah.
yeah, the the position that we're in right now, though, it's interesting because I've had conversations, right, and this is not going to surprise you, but I've had conversations with folks who are on the side of saying, well, this is simply the U.S. creating an opportunity, right? That they're saying, look, the cartel, de los solos, that doesn't exist. Well, it doesn't exist kind of in the way that people typically think of a cartel, but it is a network. It is a structure in a sense, right? But they'll look at that and go, that's an invention of the U.S. and we're doing this purely for oil, right? What do you say to people who have that
Not
opinion?
true. So this is the reality of that. The oil interests are already there. And if America just wanted a war, we would have let it happen. Because actually this is what a lot of the big media are not telling anybody, and I don't know why, because they all acknowledged it when it was happening. We might have avoided World War III through this. Because what was happening just prior, I'm talking a few months before Trump blew up the first drug boat, Venezuela, working with Brazil, was preparing to invade Guyana. So Guyana, just north of Venezuela, little tiny country. I think they used to be a French colony way back in the day.
Mhm.
Very small country. They discovered one of the largest oil reserves in the entire world. Like they're gonna be the Saudi Arabians of Latin America. Like these are the Saudis of Latin America because they discovered so much oil. Many companies were down there doing oil exploration. ExxonMobil is working there. If you want to talk about American oil interests, we're already there. We're already there. Then what happens? Venezuela claims it has historical ownership over half, like part of the country. Venezuela claims it has historical ownership over the part of Guyana that has all the oil rights. And so the international court already rejected Venezuela's claims, saying there's no basis to this. Venezuela, just a few months ago, right? Not even that long ago, declared, and they passed a law on it. They did a vote, and they declared that they will reject the conclusion of the international court, and they have a historic right to invade and seize all the oil rights in Guyana. Maduro, just a few months ago, moved his military, and they were doing military drills on the border of Guyana. And then they moved their navy, and they were doing naval exercises right next to the EEZ, the Exclusive Economic Zone of Guyana, and right next to notably the ExxonMobil station. So you could argue maybe there was some oil interest more in protecting American interest.
Right.
They were preparing to invade Guyana. And then actually, it was Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, went down there and he warned them. He warned Venezuela, look, if you do this, you don't know you're playing with fire. We're gonna destroy you if you try to invade. The broader picture of it is this, though. The Chinese Communist Party so the main advisor, one of the main advisors to Xi Jinping, the head of the CCP, is a guy named Qin Canrong. Several years back, I'm talking before the Russia-Ukraine war, before the whole Israel conflict, several years back, Xi Jinping's main advisor said that if China is going to invade Taiwan and possibly get involved in a war with the United States, they will not win unless they can make America get busy with too many other wars. They acknowledge the U.S. military is designed to fight and win two wars simultaneously. So they said if we're going to win against America, we need to get them involved in at least four wars. They said we need a war with Russia, and not long after that, you had the Ukraine war start. They said we need a war in the Middle East, and we need a war with terrorism. Then you had Iran. Then you had, of course, Israel and Gaza. And they also said they need a war in Latin America. They wanted at the time Brazil to start a war during Lula da Silva's first term, who's now back in and currently working with Maduro on the plan to take over Guyana. And that was going to be the trigger as soon as they had that to invade Taiwan. And that would be World War III. That has been averted by just basically locking down, airspace over Venezuela and just blowing up targeted strikes Venezuelan leaders. So if America wanted a war, we would have let it happen.
Yeah.
That would have been the big war and the whole military industrial complex. If that was the objective, they would have let that happen.
Yeah.
Next one. Second one in 3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching. You can catch the full episode of the PDB Situation Report over on our YouTube channel. Check that out. Just search @President's Daily Brief. We'll see you there.
Love it.